Good morning. Our service is now starting. Our prelude invocation will be Words of Walt Whitman by Theo Kocs-Meyers.
These are the words of Walt Whitman from the poem Here and Now, titled For You. The sum of all known reverence I add up in you, whoever you are. Those who govern are there for you. It is not you who are there for them. All architecture is what you do to it when you look upon it. All music is what awakes from you when you are reminded by the instruments. The sun and stars that float in the open air, the apple-shaped earth, and we upon it. The endless pride and outstretching of people, unspeakable joys and sorrows. The wonder everyone else sees in everyone else they see, and the wonders that fill each minute of time forever. It is for you, whoever you are. It is no farther from you than your hearing and sight are from you. It is hinted by nearest, commonest, readiest. We consider Bibles and religions divine. I do not say they are not divine. I say they have all grown out of you and may grow out of you still. It is not they who give the life, it is you who give the life. Will you seek afar off? You surely come back at last, in things best known to you, finding the best, or as good as the best. Happiness, knowledge, not in another place, but this place. Not for another hour, but this hour.
Song is number 356, the echo of the words we just heard, Will You Seek in Far Off Places? And this is a rehearsal of sorts. We're going to sing the two verses just to sort of get it in our ears. And then a little bit later in the service, we'll sing it again as a two-part round. And I'm sure you're all excited about that. So if you are willing to rise in body or spirit, we'll sing just the first two verses of Will You Seek in Far Off Places.
Will you seek in far off places? Surely you'll come home at last. In familiar forms and faces, things best known, you'll find the best. Joy and peace are in this hour, here not in another place. Here in this beloved flower, now in this beloved face.
Thank you.
Hello again. I'm Joanna Foley, and I would like to welcome you, everyone, to the Berkeley Fellowship of Unitarian Universalists, and a special welcome to our friends on Zoom. We are a part of a free religious tradition that honors the loving heart, the open mind, and growing together within the beloved community. Please silence your cell phones. If you have any announcements for later in the service, please write them down and give them to Jeff in the audiovisual corner back there. Our fellowship stands on land that is today called Berkeley, California, located in the stolen territory of the Ohlone people. We honor them today and always for their wisdom and their resilience. One quick note, please do not record any part of this service. BFUU records it, and the service is posted on the website. So it's time for our chalice lighting. Please light your own chalice or candles at home now while we light the communal chalice for all of us, a symbol of our tradition and the spirit that lives within every one of us. Please read with me our unison chalice lighting, which can be found in your order of service. Let love be the spirit of this congregation and service its goal. This is our living covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truths in life, and to help one another. We light our red candle to mourn Black lives taken by police and state violence, to proclaim that Black lives matter, and to express our commitment to Black liberation, reparations, and the end of slave capitalism.
Now we'll repeat the song we just sang. We're going to do it in a two-part round. So this section we'll sing with the choir, and just one measure later, this side will sing with me. We can do this. So rise in body or spirit if you want, and here we go. Will you seek in far-off places? Surely you come home
In familiar forms and faces, things best known you will find the
best.
joy and peace are in this hour. Here not in another place, beloved, in this beloved flower, now in this beloved face.
Well done.
Please let's join together in the responsive reading. I will read the regular text, and you will read the italicized text from the back of the hymnal, number 645, Song of the Open Road by Walt Whitman. Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road. Healthy, free, the world before me.
Henceforth I ask not good fortune. I myself am good fortune. Strong and content, I travel the open road.
I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine.
All things beautiful to me. I can appeal over to men and women. You have done such good to me. I would do the same to you.
Whoever you are, come travel with me. However sweet those laid-up stones, however convenient this dwelling, we cannot remain here.
However sheltered this port, and however calm these waters, we must not anchor here.
Together, the inducements shall be greater. We shall sail pathless and wild seas.
We will go where winds blow, waves dash, and the Yankee clipper speeds by under full sail.
Forward, after the great companions, and to belong to them, they too are on the road.
Onward to that which is endless, as it was beginningless, to undergo much, trance of days, rest of nights.
To see nothing anywhere but what you may reach it and pass it. To look up or down, no road, but it stretches and waits for you.
To know the universe itself as a road, as many roads, as roads for traveling souls.
Please join the choir in singing number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
It's number 1064. And there's 3 verses and a page turn. So you might want to lick your index finger and thumb.
Oh, it's in the teal hymnal.
Though below me I feel
I'm
sorry.
motion.
Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, capo.
Keep okay.
Yeah. For my
Better.
I almost hamstrung you there.
We have to get it into Eleanor's key.
We're gonna sing it a little higher.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heaven in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Our speaker this morning is Theo Kocs-Meyers. He is the child of 2 UU ministers. He recently completed a bachelor's degree in psychology in Portland, Oregon, and is honored to return to BFUU, the site of his religious education. Theo?
Good morning. That's fantastic. It's very strange to be on the other side of that. And yeah, it is an honor to be speaking here. I'm going to be honest. I remember as a child, some things you learn as a child, they don't really make an impression on you until far later. So I remember looking up in the general direction of the chancel a lot of times, but really I was looking at this really lovely stained glass window that's up here. And I remember on certain mornings I was not paying attention at all, because when the sunlight catches it just right, you get these little fragments of radiant, multicolored light on this hardwood floor, and it's like gemstones scattered across the sanctuary. And I recently learned that stained glass in churches, goes back centuries and centuries to Gothic architecture, with all of the vaulted ceilings and these elaborate, panels of stories from Scripture in stained glass, because the philosophy at the time for cathedrals was that their grandeur would inspire awe. It would inspire contemplation of God in these medieval and then later Renaissance cities, crowded with disease, with open sewage running through the streets. These churches would be built for centuries and centuries to be a respite, to be able to draw every soul that went there into this deep and pious contemplation of their relationship to their faith. And of course, there wasn't much room for interpretation necessarily at the time. But so I think we differ from the medieval Catholic Church in a few key beliefs, but I think that there's still a call to the sacred and the divine in the way that a church interprets light. One of the many things that creates the energy of a church, that consecrates it, one is the people, one is the philosophy, but I think one is the space itself. And in the sense of light, the space draws its power from the majesty of the outside, and it brings it in. So I think about the majesty of the outside more now, sort of to excuse myself for, zoning out as a child in church. But one of the greatest conservationists in American history, John Muir, is quoted as saying, "I'd rather be in the mountains thinking of God than in church thinking about the mountains." Now, to anyone who's not here today, wisely done. I hope they are in the mountains. More power to them. But, this is a beautiful standalone statement on its own, I think, but then we wouldn't be here. So he contextualizes. Muir elaborates. He's writing about the Yosemite Valley. He was 1894. And he says, "Few are altogether deaf to the preaching of pine trees. Their sermons on the mountains go to our hearts. And if people, in general, could be got into the woods, even for once, to hear the trees speak for themselves, all difficulties in the way of forest preservation would vanish. Every hidden cell is throbbing with music and life, every fiber thrilling like harp strings. No wonder the hills and groves were God's first temples, and the more they are cut down and hewn into cathedrals and churches, the farther off seems the Lord himself." Now, Muir's conservationism rested on this cornerstone that God is truly found in the untouched wilderness, and that these abstract evils of society at large distance you from the divine, and that one must go out and sort of cloister themselves in nature until they find the presence of what they consider holy. His theology was informed by his traumatic upbringing as a child raised in religious fundamentalism, and he needed to impress upon the common people and his peers at the time that nature needed to be preserved. It couldn't just be turned into another source of income for the industrialists of the time. I'm so glad that is not the case anymore. But his story himself of his relationship to faith is not familiar with Unitarian Universalists. I know many people who have arrived at this faith as the conclusion to a long and weary search for a beloved community that aligns with your sense of compassion and principles. Muir never claimed the title of Unitarianism or Universalism, but he was around the same time as Transcendentalism, which is a belief in the inherent goodness of nature and of all individual people. This was a deeply countercultural position at the time and may still be today. But Transcendentalism gained momentum through many celebrated Unitarian Universalist thinkers, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Margaret Fuller, Theodore Parker, Henry Ware. And if those ring a bell, congratulations. These are the women and men whose words and deeds are found all throughout our hymnals and our source books, but also I know that it's lists like that make me start to think about that stained glass window again. So that's when I think about Walt Whitman, because he has a poem for that, and he's a transcendentalist. And so in Song of Myself, which I like to think is looking at the way the light falls through the window, dazzling and tremendous how quick the sunrise would kill me if I could not now and always send sunrise out of me. We also ascend, dazzling and tremendous as the sun. We found our own, O my soul, in the calm and cool of the daybreak. My voice goes after what my eyes cannot reach. My speech is the twin of my vision. It provokes me forever. It says sarcastically, Walt, you contain enough. Why don't you let it out then? The soul, he argues, just like sunlight, is an ephemeral spark of what is sacred, streaming down from the heavens to shine on earth. Whitman sees it that both are just as much a part of the self as the body or the senses are. He envisions his life as one where natural phenomena and spiritual mysteries reconcile with the physical form. And so he continues with this revelation. I believe a leaf of grass is no less than the journey work of the stars. And the pismire is equally perfect, and a grain of sand, and the egg of the wren, and the cow crunching with depressed head surpasses any statue, and a mouse is miracle enough to stagger sextillions of infidels. I incorporate nice, coal, long-threaded moss, fruits, grains, esculent roots, and I'm stuccoed with quadrupeds and birds all over. If John Muir makes the point that the divine is found in nature, Whitman counters that nature, too, is within the self. To him, to witness something is to embody it. If you have heard the preaching of the pine trees, then you, too, surely carry within yourself that same spiritual grace. And so, to stir the journey work of the stars for the reader, for you, he invites you into this serenity, calling you to imagine it. Literary analysts back me up on this, by the way. Jill Marsden, the scholar, writes in Mosaic, the University of Manitoba's interdisciplinary critical journal, 500,000 iridescent bodies move as a coordinated phalanx in the mid-Atlantic, megashoals of fish. A swooping mass of starlings wheel over the fields at twilight. Above them, nebulae, composed of glowing dust particles, coherently present themselves to the human eyes as stars. We cannot say if mackerel know anything of nebulae, but when we write and read about them, such formations elicit our sympathies. They are excruciatingly beautiful examples of how poorly we conceptualize the relationship of parts and wholes. It takes considerable effort to imagine any precise connection between the fishes, the starlings, the cradles of the stars. They seem distant from our conceptions of our own community. But who is our community? Who is this we? Song of Myself by Whitman answers with maximum inclusivity. It desires to speak to and for the many different individuals of the American en masse, and it might just as well have been titled Symphony of All Others. John Muir, too, agrees with this symphony of all life together, saying, when one tugs at a single thing in nature, he finds it attached to the rest of the world. Or at least when I looked up what John Muir said about nature and religion, I found that statement. And then the Sierra Club, in service of our quest for truth and meaning, actually have a separate web page that says things John Muir never said. An 18-point font in bold is that very quote. What he actually said in his 1911 book, My First Summer in the Sierra, and it's on page 110, depending on your version, he said, when we try and pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. Isn't that much better? In his real words, you're no longer tugging at nature like a parasite unaware of what you might destroy. You are trying to pick out anything by itself and marveling at the interconnectedness of all things. These anythings did not find themselves on accident, attached to the rest of the world, they were hitched, they were tied together with intricate purpose in the web of life. And it's not some he who finds things attached alone against the rest of the world, which would be contradictory. No, it's the universe, the capital U, revealing itself to us, and the web in which everything, the metaphysical and the material, are folded in alongside each other. And of course, Whitman has an answer to this too. In Song of Myself, he says, I have said that the soul is not more than the body, and the body is not more than the soul, and nothing, not God, is greater to one than oneself is. And I say to any man or woman, let your soul stand cool and composed before 1,000,000 universes. And I say to mankind, be not curious about God, for I who am curious about each am not curious about God. No array of terms can say how much I am at peace about God and about death, because I hear and behold God in every object, yet understand God not in the least, nor do I understand who there can be more wonderful than myself. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God each hour of the 24, and each moment then, in the faces of men and women, I see God, and in my own face, in the glass, I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name, and I leave them where they are. For I know that wheresoever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. Amen. God may be omnipresent, but not absolute. God is not this inescapable, looming threat. God is in the inherent dignity of each person, in being at peace with yourself, although Walt Whitman is very at peace with himself. If you are assured that your faith and your actions towards others reflect your values, you insist on the presence of the sublime in what was once mundane. And this is twofold. If you see the divine in the everyday, you find that you become at peace with yourself. Now, this is not a switch you flip or a button you press or some breakthrough you can make. This is an odyssey. Walt Whitman calls it a perpetual journey. He says his signs are a rainproof coat, good shoes, and a staff cut from the woods. He says, no friend of mine takes ease in my chair. I have no chair, no church, no philosophy. But each man and each woman of you I lead upon a knoll, my left hand hooking you around the waist, my right hand pointing to landscapes of continents in the public road. Not I, not anyone else can travel that road for you. You must travel it for yourself. So in other words, enlightenment is a walk in the park. Or more accurately, at least to my experience, spiritual understanding of your place in the world and others comes from nourishing and then pursuing your curiosity and love for the world at large. And he says each person must go on their own, and yet he calls for everyone to embark. Wouldn't it make more sense if we teamed up and went together? But this is not a contradiction. This is in the public road, in the landscape, in the journey. It is the synthesis of solidarity and solitude. We each have our own private cosmos, and yet we seek that private cosmos in each other. For example, he also talks about himself sometimes. He opens the poem starting from Paumanok, which is the Algonquian name for what is called in English Long Island, with a brief biography, as suggested by the title. He says, starting from fish-shaped Paumanok, where I was born, solitary, singing in the west, I strike up for a new world. Between these two lines, there's about another dozen, and he describes 5 or 6 simultaneous lives of various anonymous people across the country that no one man could ever live out at once. He's a soldier in the Civil War. He's a miner in California. He's a Manhattanite. And Song of Myself suggests an explanation, a reconciliation for all these contradictory stories. He writes of this 50-something page epic poem, "These are really the thoughts of all men in all ages and lands. They are not original with me. This is the grass that grows wherever the land is and the water is. This is the common air that bathes the globe." Whitman was on a quest to be the voice of the heart and soul of America. He wanted to be the bard of this strange, new, experimental country and the radical ideals that she was founded upon. And as a result, much like ancient prophets or the founding fathers, there's a whole field of academics, just like Jill Marsden, who study his words and ask, what did he mean by this? And, well, what would he say if he were alive today? Whitman, to his credit, prudently responds, "You are also asking me questions, and I hear you. I answer that I cannot answer. You must find out for yourself." I think that's especially well said because he lived in and believed in a very different version of the United States of America than the one we grapple with today. He lived through the Civil War. He was a nurse for a Union hospital in Washington, D.C. He wrote poetry about briefly touching on the suffering of enslaved people, and yet he never, even at the height of his celebrity, made any statement towards abolitionism. He tried to avoid things that were explicitly political statements, that were labeled as political terms, while at once making these great claims about the nature of souls and of life and of America. He was part of the Free Soil Party, which was concerned about the effect that bringing slavery to new states that were newly admitted into the Union would have on the economy. Abolitionists called this party philosophy, by the way, white manism. He romanticized this nation through a perspective of unending optimism and goodwill, and he was shielded from being fully faced with many of its horrors by the privileges that he did not acknowledge. But if we are to see God in every face, in each man, woman, and person, we cannot, in good conscience, refuse to acknowledge the injustice of our country. And so it is worth being able to know. Outside is a new concept. It's a social construction. Humans invented it millennia ago, immediately after they invented inside. Once, long ago, everything was simply outside. And much like other social constructions that were created for shelter and convenience and the benefit of all people, it manifests in ways where being able to move freely between the indoors and the outdoors, like Whitman and John Muir spoke about, is a privilege. For example, the California Department of Parks and Recreation finds that 61% of Californians have less than 3 acres of open space for every 1,000 neighbors that they have, and 21% of Californians live more than half a mile from the nearest open space. They don't even say open green space, whereas they do on other parts of their sources, just open space. Conversely, and possibly far more dangerously to immediate physical health, in this nation, over 500,000 people are given one of the most brutal social exiles in the devastating and ultimately deadly punishment of homelessness. Given the unignorable reality of these systemic inequalities, of the class differences and of the way that they compound in what should be a call to find faith. We cannot pretend that this lofty mission of going out into the high Sierras, as John Muir once did, to be able to be at peace with yourself and find love for all things, is necessarily accessible to everyone. But just because this is not the same America as Walt Whitman was writing about, does not mean that there are not people who still have his principles and goals, but weigh them carefully against the realities of the time. Perhaps the best modern-ish counterpart to Whitman's writing is another poet who was born in New York State and yet grew to be known as the voice of the West Coast and one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. While a high school student at Tamalpais High, Tupac Shakur asks the reader in his poem, "Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law is wrong, it learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared." Shakur only directly asks the reader of one thing: acknowledgement, recognition. It's in the title. He says, "Did you hear?" But the rest of the lines are meant to compel our senses of compassion and justice to reflect further and ask ourselves the hard questions. Did you see it growing? Did you care? Do you know what the dreams are of this rose? Do you see God in the human soul that the rose represents? Do you see yourself in them? If we are truly committed to our living tradition, to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love, we must interpret our principles from the ground up, leading by example in the present, not looking back to tidy parables or past theories. The words of 100, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, can and should continue to guide us. But you do not necessarily need to go out and hear a sermon from the pine trees on a mountaintop, like John Muir said, or go out into the desert like Jesus or Mary Oliver in that poem about geese, and to find your relationship to the divine and make peace with it. You can notice and uplift the life and the humanity and the nature right outside your door, even if it seems like an unlikely place, because the spirit of love is already there, waiting to be witnessed and embodied in one. I leave you today with words that are surely now familiar to you at last, from Here and Now in the section titled For You. The wonder everyone sees in everyone else they see, it is for you, whoever you are. We consider Bibles and religions divine. I do not say they are not divine. I say they have all grown out of you and may grow out of you still. It is not they who give the life, it is you who give the life. Will you seek afar off? You surely come back at last. In things best known to you, finding the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Theo. Welcome home. It's a unique experience welcoming a speaker to our chancel who shared his childhood memories of taking part in the services here. It's great to have you back. Reverend Ben will play Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads.
The words of this song are from Alicia Carpenter, who I think was channeling Whitman when she wrote these. You can read along if you'd like, but I'm going to sing this song. It's number 324 in the hymnal. But I invite you, if you'd like, to just lean back and just hear these words, and may they uplift the words we've just heard from the sermon. Where my free spirit onward leads, well, there shall be my way. By my own light illumined, I've journeyed night and day. My age a time-worn cloak I wear, as once I wore my youth. I celebrate life's mystery, I celebrate death's truth. My family is not confined to mother, mate, and child, but it includes all creatures, be they tame or be they wild. My family upon this earth includes all living things, on land or in the ocean deep, or borne aloft on wings. The ever-spinning universe, well, there shall be my home. I sing and spin within it, as through this life I roam. Eternity is hard to ken, and harder still is this. A human life, when truly seen, is briefer than a kiss.
And now's the time for our joys and sorrows. We have some that came from Zoom this morning. One, Anne Fagan Ginger is still kicking at age 100. Please sign a birthday card for her that's at the piano. She was a long-term BFUU member who mentored the Social Justice Committee on the United Nations and international laws. And here's one from Mike Gardner. Jinky is slowly recovering. The bumps along the road are now a bit smaller for her. And from our community book, which people are welcome to write in for their joys and sorrows. So Margaret says, I'm excited about Theo speaking today, giving his first sermon. And Jeff wrote, welcome, Theo, to the world of preaching. Here's a thought that I shared. Grateful for the warmth and connection we experience when we come together in person or online. Ashley says, excited to move to LA for my partner's job. However, that means I actually have to clean, pack, and move our apartment. You have our sympathies. And Reverend Jojo writes prayers, hopes, and healing energies for Jinky Gardner, Lawrence Phillips, and Christine Dixon. And now is the time we say aloud the names of anyone we want to send support and loving energy to. Now we move on to the silent part of our morning ritual. It's the healing ritual with water and stones. For anything that is in our hearts that we wish to bring into community, but is perhaps too sensitive to speak aloud, we have a symbolic action that you can take. You walk down the center aisle, choose a stone or stones, and immerse in the water, which represents our community. for all that we have shared and all that we will share in our ongoing lives together. May we be grateful. Now for our meditation. In a moment, I will sound a chime to lead us into our time of silent meditation. Please get comfortable and follow your breath to your inner stillness. I will ring the chime a second time at the end of 2 minutes, more or less. So it's time for the metta meditation, which comes from the Buddhist tradition and is found in the order of service. Please join in singing, and I believe Theo will lead it. Now is the time when we share our responsibility for the home we are creating together. Our Shared Plate community partner for July is the Center for Art Esteem. The Center for Art Esteem's art is visible here on our wall, created by the young people that they teach and mentor in the schools of Oakland. The mission of Artist Team is to empower individuals to be self-aware and inspired through art, creativity, and education, making positive choices to break the cycle of violence for themselves and their communities. We envision a world where everyone is whole, safe, loved, educated, and valued. In all the work, Center for Artist Team promotes the understanding that we can choose peace over conflict and love over fear. So check out the art on the walls and read the individual statements of the artist. So our offertory now will be May I Suggest by Susan Werner, performed by Reverend Ben and Theo.
May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life.
May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining almost blinding bright.
Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the 1,000 reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a world that's been addressed to you, intended only for your eyes.
A secret world, like a treasure chest for you, of private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize.
A tender lover's smile, a tiny baby's hands, the million stars that fill the turning sky at night. Oh, I suggest to you, oh, I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a hope that's been expressed in you, the hope of 7 generations, maybe more.
And this is the faith that they invest in you. It's that you'll do one better than was done before.
Inside you know, inside you understand, inside you know what's yours to finally set right. And I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the west to you, comes from the west, comes from the slowly setting sun. This is a song with a request of you, to see how very short the endless days will run. And when they're gone, and when the dark descends, we'd give anything for one more hour of light. And I suggest to you, and I suggest this is the best part of your life.
Let us dedicate our offerings. The words are in your order of service. to the work of this fellowship, which is creating beloved community within and beyond these walls, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. So the people who are joining us on Zoom today, we have 8 people. Virginia, Ben Birch, Bill Balderson, Luna, Melissa, Mike Gardner, Simone, Sil Scherzer, and I assume Jinky. We gratefully acknowledge all who work together on this service. Thanks to all of you here and in the Zoom room who are sharing our service. So check your order of service or email newsletter for announcements. Jeff, do you have an announcement?
Yes, please. Hi. This Thursday, July 17th, is the anniversary of the death of John Lewis, a hero of the civil rights movement and voting rights. A small gathering of us will be honoring John Lewis and protesting the current administration assault on these rights. At 5 o'clock this Thursday, we're going to meet at the corner of MLK and Cedar, and I guess that means bring a protest sign, right? Please join us. Thank you. 5 o'clock. Thank you.
So please check your order of service or for other announcements. And if you're not yet on our mailing list, go to bfuu.org to sign up or contact Jeff after the service. So are there any folks here who are new to BFUU who would like to introduce themselves briefly? Some folks like to do this and some don't. It's totally optional. Some people are thinking it over, I see. Okay, you can introduce yourself over food and fellowship, which will follow. So, welcome to all of us, all of you who are with us today in silence, in person, in silence or with words, in person or in spirit. We will have more time to connect with each other after the service and in the days to come. Specifically, the days to come might well be next Sunday, July the 20th. Our guest speaker will be Anders Renee. Anders, give a wave. Anders is in the back. This will be Anders' second time in speaking to us. And here is Anders' blurb about the message he's going to bring. Does it feel like we've been in this timeline before? 2025 is a pivotal year astrologically, since all of the outer planets have entered new signs for the next 8+ years. By looking back at the past, we can better understand our present and maybe get an idea of what to expect in the future. So now is the time to extinguish our chalice. Please read with us the words in your order of service. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of service. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. So thank you for joining us today. After the service, you're welcome to stay and enjoy community. We will be having a light lunch. Now for our final circle, please form a circle in the hall and join in singing a new song, Circle Round for Laughter. Is it, what? Oh, okay. So I guess we're back to Circle Round for Freedom.
Do I start singing?
No.
Well, someone's got to start singing. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us in prison, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle. Onward to that which is endless as it was beginningless. Thank you.